Hi. Wish you all a very warm welcome to this session, which is called the Ayurvedic Perspective on Mental Health. My name is Uma, and together with all of you, we'd like to set the stage for what Ayurveda has to offer for mental health. So as all of you log in, I just want to make sure you're able to hear me well. Is there any technical feedback? The sound quality good? A little thumbs up? Great, thank you. So this session, which is a part of the Yoga for Mental Health, the Yoga Festival for Mental Health, is hosted by the Sri Sri School of Yoga, together with the Art of Living Foundation and Sri Sri Tattva. Sri Sri School of Yoga, I'd like to give you all a little introduction to our hosts, and then we go on to the session. Sri Sri School of Yoga is, many of you were probably aware of it. They're present in many countries around the world, and they make yoga accessible and applicable for modern day use. They're very steeped in the yogic practice as written in the Vedic texts, but they also make it relevant for people of all walks of life, from all nationalities, from all backgrounds, all abilities as well. And this festival today is hosted by the Sri Sri School of Yoga. In association with the Art of Living Foundation, many of you would have heard the Art of Living Foundation. They're present in 155 countries around the world. The foundation is a not-for-profit, educational, and humanitarian organization. It offers programs for personal development, programs which give you tools and techniques to eliminate stress and to be at your very best, to live a happy, productive, and stress-free life, a more fulfilling life. The Art of Living Foundation's breath and meditation workshops have been one of the most subscribed to online workshops in the pandemic. And there's a lot of information about it on the internet. But just for this session, this is a short introduction to the Art of Living Foundation. And our other host for this session is Sri Sri Tattva. Sri Sri Tattva is a global health and wellness company. They offer health and wellness products and services that are steeped in Ayurvedic wisdom. They make Ayurvedic wisdom accessible to people across the world, and they offer programs, educational programs, wellness programs, consultations, and also products that support the advice offered by the Ayurvedic experts. So we have two Ayurvedic experts joining us today, one of which consults for Sri Sri Tattva. I would start by introducing our Ayurvedic experts, and then I have a set of questions for them, after which I would open the floor to all of you to share your questions in the chat and to have the chance for your questions to be answered by our experts. Okay. So on that note, I'd like to welcome our first Ayurvedic expert, Vaidya Chaitanya Chandrasekharan. Hi.
Thank you, Umaji.
Thank you. So, Vaidya Chaitanya is an Ayurvedic expert. She is an Ayurvedic physician. She's specialized in clinical psychology from India. She's a Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery. Besides her outstanding academic achievements, she's also consulted many thousands of people and helped them heal and get well with the holistic wisdom of Ayurveda. So she's been in Germany for the last 4 to 5 years, and she travels around the country. She also offers consultations, detox programs, which are very highly subscribed to, and pulse diagnosis as well. So on that note, I'd like to welcome you, Chaitanya.
Thank you very much. Happy and privileged to be here.
Great. And our second expert for the day, Ayurvedic expert, is Vaidya Shruti Kapadia. Shruti Kapadia is also a Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery. She comes from the Sri Sri School of Ayurveda in Bangalore. She's an expert in cardiac and diabetic care, and also a pulse diagnosis expert. The last 4 years, Vaidya Shruti is based in France, and she's been helping the people of that country with the holistic science she has learned and brought with her. I'd like to welcome you, Vaidya Shruti. Thank you for being here and your time.
Thank you so much, Uma. It's an honor to be here.
Very nice. So mental health has been an issue. People come forth to talk about some of their physical problems. They're more forthcoming to share what bothers them, like a headache. But there's a tendency to hold back when it comes to mental health issues. So this is why we set up the stage today to talk about some of the questions that we keep with us, but are not very forthcoming to discuss. And today's forum is to open the floor and to also share the wisdom that Ayurveda brings. Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old science. It's an ancient science that is still applicable to every breathing human around the world. So how is the Ayurvedic wisdom still applicable to some of the things that we battle with at a physical, mental, and emotional level? So this is the framework for today's session. And I have some questions which I'm going to pose to both the Vaidyas, and that way we'll have two different perspectives, right? So my first question to a few, Vaidya Chaitanya and Vaidya Shruti. In the last 12 to 16 months in the pandemic, have you seen a remarkable rise in the number of people seeking mental health support, coming to you with mental issues, or coming to you without knowing it's their mental issue that's bothering them? So I would start with Vaidya Chaitanya.
Thank you for the question, Uma. Yes. During the pandemic time, in my clinical experience, I've seen people opening up about mental issues and seeking help, especially those conditions that I've come across are worry, anxiety, tension, stress, and depression. And one of the most common reason I could assess, given the pandemic condition, is sudden change of routines or sudden change in the sense of security that people associated themselves with.
And Vaidya Shruti, how is that with you in France? Do you share the same opinion?
Well, it's more or less the same. It's like everybody started opening up better, and they were eager to understand what exactly was happening to them. So that is one of the reasons why they started opening up, and they started accepting that, yes, there was some issue which was indeed present, and they never were able to face it. So they got that courage to, go deep inside them to figure out what exactly was happening to them. And that's how they started seeking more help about how to handle these issues. We had a lot of depression, anxiety, fear, and that came up. So that's how people started coming and talking more about their emotions.
Mm-hmm. So they do know that Ayurveda is a form of medicine for mental issues. Is that already aware? it's a question for you, Vaidya, Shruti. So my question is, were people already aware of the fact that Ayurveda offered solutions for mental issues?
Not all of them are pretty aware about it, but it was just like, with a pulse diagnosis, we try to understand what is the mental status of the person. And when we question the person, then they slowly start getting out with their issues. And that is when they were like, okay, maybe I need help on that count. So they do not come first and foremost with their mental issues. They usually come with their physical symptoms, and then accordingly they just start pouring out with all their emotions. So it wasn't first, go-to aspect.
Right. So Vaidya Chaitanya mentioned that one of the reasons for this huge spurt in mental issues is the change in routine, where people could perceive this for themselves. What else is the cause for the rise in mental issues? It cannot just be the news, right? So I would ask this question to Vaidya Chaitanya first.
Are you talking in the context of the pandemic or mental issues in general?
I would ask you to put both in perspective. What have you seen before the pandemic and what do you see now?
Yeah, so in the context of pandemic, change in routine, disruption in what everyone considered normal for themselves was one cause that I could analyze when people were opening up about the challenges that they were facing during the pandemic times. And the next factor that I would consider would be that they suddenly had a rift between innovation and their trauma. For example, the moment the routine changed, there was an overwhelming feeling about how do I handle the new change. So many of them actually suffered from lack of innovation. Simple solutions, being innovative to find simple solutions to their regular little changes in routine, a situation that would suddenly pop up. For example, you are locked inside your house. You cannot have the freedom of traveling like before. So, yes, you can bring down your anxiety and worry and stress of being locked inside the house if you are innovative enough to calm down the restlessness in your mind with activities. So that lack of innovation was another reason I found that adds on to stress in the mind. Because with people who had that little innovation, okay, let's maybe try some new recipes. Let's maybe play some games with everyone in the family, or let's learn something new. The moment they were able to learn something new, they could bring a shift in their perception of anxiety or stress associated with the pandemic. Yeah, so that was my second finding during pandemic times. Yeah, lack of innovation. The third, I would say, is the narrow perspective people have about life. There's usually a thought process that, okay, if I have accomplished certain parameters, succumbing myself to peer pressure or peer review, then I am safe or I am fit to be living in the society. And only paying attention to satisfying those perspectives, which is developing from somebody else's review. So this was another thing I realized is also adding on to stress and anxiety in people. So the moment people started identifying their own perspective, what are those things that are relevant to me based on my resources and my criteria and my eligibility, and not comparing myself with somebody else's criteria, eligibility, and resources of being happy and healthy. That also brought a shift. So these are those factors that I could perceive during these times of pandemic, leading to insights about where stress actually comes from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wonderful how you sum it up, because that also explains why so many youngsters are now seeking mental support in some form or the other, and feeling anxious, because with social media and the news and the internet being accessible 24/7, the chances to compare yourself with not just your peers in the immediate environment, but also peers across the world increases manyfold. And I think that makes people somewhat, I'm not good enough, comes to the mind ever so often. And this could be the root cause of many of the problems that the youngsters face. So, Vaidya, Shruti, is it very different in France? Do you agree? Because there's two great countries to compare. Also, I take that chance to put you all side by side.
I would say it's the same, like social media being pretty open and we getting exposed, like as a matter of fact, the youngsters getting exposed at a very young age. When they are just starting to identify themselves first as a person and then identify themselves in the, society, this correlation and their role of how they are supposed to place themselves. That puts a lot of pressure over these young minds, in which it's actually the time in which they have to be molded in a very secure sense and in a very loved sense. So with too much of pressure, there are lots of cracks in during this process of molding. Mm-hmm. So yes, I would say social media, with the exposure and all the time constantly just at home, makes it too much for these young minds, for sure.
So what is Ayurveda's approach to mental health that is fundamentally different from other forms of medicine?
Fundamentally, I would say, even when we talk about mental health, we are not just talking about your mental health, but it's also the well-being, your association with your family, your association with your friends, and your association with your society. So it's a holistic approach that we take on in Ayurveda. There's a lot of counseling. There's a lot of, discipline. Where is it necessary? Where is it not necessary? How do you open your thoughts? Yeah. And how do you communicate? Communication being a very major tool, I would say,
right,
necessary.
So for people who reach out to you and seek support, seek help, especially in the lockdown, let's say now, what is your advice? What are things that they can do to help themselves instantly?
Instantly,
if there is something, I mean, what are the first steps? I rephrase my question. What are the first steps that you would suggest that they do to help themselves?
Essentially, I definitely ask them to start off with breathing exercises and meditations, because that they can do sitting at home. And we have real good, team of yoga teachers and, pranayam teachers. So there's a lot of resource. So it's more like guiding people to the good part of the social media, not just to focus on the negative or, put pressure on yourself, but try to go back inside yourself. So a lot of breathing exercises is what I usually advise them to start off with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Vaidya, Chaitanya, what is your take on it? Do you agree? Do you want to add to something here?
I agree with what Vaidya Shruti said. So for me, the first step of helping someone out with mental health care would be to come close to the trauma. People have a tendency, or I think every human has a tendency to escape mental pain. And the more you try to escape mental discomfort, the less you're able to come out of the problem. So the first step is to enable them to come close to the trauma or the mental pain or the discomfort that they experience. And there, they might be able to do it themselves, or they might need mentoring or a coach or someone who is supporting them. It's important, depending on the degree of trauma or the mental pain that they're going through. The second is to enable them to dissect the trauma. And there, wisdom comes to the rescue. Knowing about the nature of mind helps you to dissect the mental pain better. Because if you want to dissect something, for example, take a pumpkin, you want to cut it into small pieces. You need to know about the pumpkin's features, the thickness of the skin, the position which helps you to cut it better. You need to have knowledge of knife, right? So the same is not applicable with potato. It's a different skill and knowledge that you need to dissect a potato. So knowledge about mind helps you to dissect the trauma. That would be my second approach. And there, wisdom comes to your rescue. There are tools that help you get this wisdom. Like for the example Shruti said, the entire principle of yoga is to give you these tools through meditation or various techniques of breathing and yogic postures and so on. So that enabling yourself to dissect the trauma or the pain is the second aspect of management of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's a problem that's really critical, intense, severe and chronic in the mind, then you would need management, support of a treatment modality. In Ayurveda, the entire mental health care or management of a mental illness is brought down or narrowed down into 3 words: Dhi, Dhairya, and Atmadivijnana. Dhi is wisdom, intelligence, or the skill of discrimination, the skill to dissect the problem, to study the problem, study the pain rather than running away from it. You need that to ensure mental hygiene. It's the treatment of a mental problem. The second is courage. Courage to confront, contemplate the problem. And the third is Atmadi Vijnanam, where the school of yoga comes into help. That is understanding dimensions of life beyond what you can simply see. There is life beyond the visibility of matter, or broadening the perspective of life beyond your physical body and your emotions. Knowing about what is happening in the world, there's 7 billion people in the world, increasing the perspective, going inside yourself, expanding your knowledge or your wisdom of higher realms and truths of life. These are the 3 things that help you get there. And through all stages of this transit, you will need the help of a mentor and tools that enable you to get there. And yoga, along with Ayurveda, helps you to achieve those tools. And if the problem is organic, then Ayurveda has more focus in managing the condition. So we divide the treatment of any condition into 3 sectors. Yukti Vipashraya, that is treatment by logic. If there's an organic problem, you use a medicine or a modality to fix the organic problem. And then Sattva-Vajaya, helping the mind to uplift itself, easing out the mental pain. And the third is helping you to broaden perspectives of life. That is looking into nature.
Mm-hmm.
You're using the utilities, the modalities of nature to help you heal. So this is the approach that I usually follow in my practice, which is what Shruti was speaking about too.
That's fascinating. I mean, given that all of us are born with a mind and we battle with our mind more than anything else every single minute, I'm just wondering, why are we not taught this before? Yeah. So, Vaidya Shruti, I have a question for you, because you mentioned, you lead youngsters to social media to also share with them wisdom and techniques that would help them. How familiar are, I would say, especially in the two countries, in the context of Europe, how familiar are people with the concept of prana being that, that first thing that affects the way you feel? Is that something that's very well known, or is it very new?
I would say it's a kind of mixed approach, because there are many who come with the knowledge already, but there are many who, when you start conversing with them and when you give them the tools, and they are like, why didn't I know about it before?
Yeah.
It comes like, wow, why didn't I just know about it before? So that whole surprise and that bliss of refinding yourself, getting reconnected, is something that just comes, it's more often there. So I would say I would go with 50-50%.
Yeah. But Ayurveda does have this, this principle that every disease starts with in the mind. Am I right?
I would say there is not a direct reference to that. We do consider that as mind being the causative factor, majorly for any of the psychological disorders.
Okay.
So, which is where it's only just one part, but as overall well-being, yes, your mental health does play a role, but it is not the causative factor for the rest.
So on one side, we have mental illnesses. On the other side, we have developmental challenges. For example, I don't know, attention deficiency, or, just being not able to focus. So is there a differentiation? How does Ayurveda approach these two?
The approach towards developmental challenges is almost the same. It's just the approach of how we go about is that the only added factor would be the panchakarmas, the detox processes, in which we give, along with the various counseling, behavioral therapy, lifestyle, consultations, and diet also.
Okay, right. And do you have any recent examples or memorable examples of people who were fantastically cured at a mental level using the Ayurvedic principles and science? I'm sure there are many, but just something that's relevant to this group to leave them with.
Are you specifically asking for developmental disorders or general?
In general, mental illnesses and mental health. Any stories or any cases that come to mind that you could share?
There are many, as you did say. It's the one recent, I would say, is a lady of about 35 years or something. So she was on, anti-anxiolytic medications for about 2 to 3 years. And over a period of time, with all the exercises, the counseling, as well as dietary changes, she has been fortunate enough to get off the medications over time. And as a matter of fact, even the doctor is pretty happy. Okay. And that's how it goes.
That's very nice. Thank you for sharing. And Vaidya Chaitanya, examples or incidents that come to your mind?
Just like Shruti said, there are many. And the interesting factor that I've noticed in my clinical practice is that when many people experience a mental distress, be it anxiety, worry, sleeplessness, irritability, anger issues, hormonal issues, and so on, most of us are looking for some quick fixes. And I think most of us would be looking for that magical pill, which is going to fix the problem immediately. And it then gets difficult for one person to come out of these pills. You get so adapted with the whole concept of convenient healing or quick fixing. So what I've seen is, in Ayurveda, not all mental challenges originate from the mind itself. Some of them would be organic from the body. So a simple thing like chronic constipation can create severe irritability and sleeplessness in a person. A simple challenge like chronic gastritis can create severe behavioral challenges and stress in a person. So, what people overlook is that connection between body and mind. In Ayurveda, a person is called healthy only when your body, along with your mind and other faculties of existence, are in harmony. You cannot miss out one. So just like body has a disease, mind can also have a problem, and it can be interlinked. Sometimes the cause of a mental illness might be in the physical body, in the physiology itself. And the moment you correct that cause, which is called Nidana Parivarjana in Sanskrit, that means arresting the cause, which could be a very simple thing. Just like clearing your constipation, you can see the shift. So it's not always important to treat a mental or a physiological problem at the symptom level. It's so important to track the root cause of the problem. And if the root cause is in the mind, maybe the expression of the condition is different from the root cause. Just like a person having anger issues, maybe the root cause is that there was an unfulfilled desire. And if that aspect is not addressed, then you can only symptomatically manage anger. And that disease then becomes a non-treatable condition because you're on an ongoing mode of symptom management.
That's right.
Similarly, restlessness, hyperactivity in the mind could come from a simple root cause like chronic constipation or chronic indigestion. We call this condition as Udavarta. That particular condition of irregular bowel movement is the cause of psychiatric diseases too. So simply correcting their metabolism can help their restlessness settle down.
That is so interesting.
Especially with children. The very few healers or physicians are focused on the connectivity between metabolism and behavioral disorders. Actually, the interesting research is happening there related to vagal nerve function, that how metabolism can influence the quality of your mind. So I've come across so many conditions where the problem expressed with severe intensity was actually from a root cause that was so easily neglected. And you fix the root cause, which looks very simple, the problem is sorted out. So those kind of experiences have been many, even starting with fixing a chronic constipation condition where the person felt much better when it came to insomnia, restless leg syndrome, and so on.
Yes, that's right. It's so it's so interesting because all of us are so wired for this instant gratification. Pop in a pill, get rid of the pain, but we don't really go to the root cause of the problem. But it's such an important way, such an important approach to health and well-being to always address the root cause and not cure yourself at a symptomatic level and become an addict of another pill that you pop in. Because so many people depend on tablets to sleep, you know? So instead of getting to the cause of what is leading to that sleeplessness, because we're also impatient to find the solution, any solution. And often in the process of solving that solution, we open ourselves up to many more problems in the long term. Yeah, I have that experience too. Many years ago, I used to take medicines for seasonal allergies, and they were always symptomatic cures. And it was only 5 years ago that I came to Ayurveda. I found Ayurveda as a solution, and I see a remarkable improvement. I'm not there. I've not completely got rid of my allergies, but there is a remarkable improvement year upon year on the way my body reacts to the same things that would have me flat on the floor some years ago. So on that note, I want to open up the floor to all of you. I'm sure all of you are waiting to ask your personal questions to the two experts who are here with us. So I have one question already, or maybe two. I just take a chance to browse while everybody else can dry. Okay, there's a question from Pratyusha. She says, I have a question. My anxiety is not at all going down in spite of sadhana. I think her daily practice of yoga and meditation. Every time I do a consultation, I'm told I have a lot of stress. I'm always depressed and anxious for years now, and I feel no way out. How would you help me? Is there any cure? So, yeah, can Ayurveda cure my anxiety and depression? Is Pratyusha's question. And I would start with Vaidya Shruti. Your comments on her question, please.
Basically, I would suggest her to go for a whole body detox. So as Vaidya Chaitanya said, sometimes it is organic. So with a whole body detox, that would be able to rebalance her doshas, the energies in the body, and that might reduce her levels of anxiety to a certain extent, and maybe she might have to repeat it over time.
Right. And also to take a long-term perspective to cure something that has been troubling for so long, right? I would also add that this is what I've learned from the two of you today.
Yes, it's like it's not in a blink of an eye that things do get over. So it would definitely take some time.
Okay, great. So there's another question. I would request all of you to send your questions either to everyone so that all the technical support team can also read it out. But there are some questions which have come to me directly. The second one is, how long does it take to get rid of a pollen allergy? So this is a question. So I don't know how long and who the person is. But yeah, is there a general time? Because it's also a question which is very relevant to me. Is there, do you have an answer for that? How long does it take to get rid of pollen allergy?
See, it depends person to person. I won't say, I won't give a definite time, but if it is a seasonal, we'll have to take it each season at a time. So the intensity is definitely reduced with whatever lifestyle, dietary, suggestions are made, and also certain detox processes.
Right.
So I wouldn't put a timeline on it for sure.
Yes. Okay. I welcome. You're also welcome to unmute yourself and ask questions. I'm going to browse for more questions. There's one question in a very different language, which I may not understand. Do you think there are certain lifestyle habits that are making us more, what do you say, prone to mental health diseases?
Definitely, I would say our sedentary lifestyle is one of the major factors. And other than that, also the fast life, the fast food, fast, service. Mm-hmm. So we do tend to become very impatient. Okay. So that definitely does play a major role on it.
Okay. So another question that's come from Mirko is, does Vaidya Chaitanya give Ayurvedic courses? Are you talking about Ayurvedic courses in general, or are you talking about, Mirko, could you please clarify your question? But Vaidya Chaitanya.
Yes. I attended one of her presentations in April, and I was so it was a wonderful experience. So I'm interesting to have information that she is giving Ayurvedic courses in the mean of cooking courses, in combining the foods, type of foods, and I think in this direction it was question.
Okay.
Yes, we have courses like weight loss program, cooking courses, and so on that's happening with Sri Sri Tattva. You will be able to find the information in the Facebook page and the official website of Sri Sri Tattva Europe. In fact, all the doctors of Sri Sri Tattva in Europe are giving expert programs in various aspects of Ayurvedic living.
The other question.
Thank you.
So there's another question from Kareen who says, how to get rid of antidepressants? You can take the question, Vaidya Shruti.
I think I would pass this question to Vaidya Chaitanya because that's her field of expertise more so.
Okay.
Okay, so in Ayurveda, there are 18 factors that we consider before we decide if a condition is easily manageable or manageable with difficulty. So even if it's depression or allergy, it is not considered as the same disease in two different people. So Ayurveda focuses on the person who contains the disease more than the disease itself. So if the question is about how to come out of antidepressants, we'll first have to assess the intensity of the problem, which is in this case depression. We'll have to see, are these 18 factors which are clustered under the intensity of disease and the health status of the person supportive for a better prognosis. So if you satisfy or fulfill these 18 factors, which is indicated in the direction of faster healing, then we will be able to taper down the medication. But there are also conditions or situations where it's not so easy. So it's a very individualistic condition where you have to be with an Ayurveda expert, analyze and decipher the entire history of you as well as the condition that you are suffering from. And then based on that analysis, we will be able to tell you, okay, what's the direction we have to take to come out of antidepressants? Is it possible? To a great extent in my practice, I've seen that it's possible to take a person out of antidepressants depending on the kind of depression they're suffering from. Not all kinds of depression are treatable without antidepressants. No, you should never think that way. There's some conditions where you need the medication for a long period of time. But there's also possibility that you can help yourself without depending on the medicine completely. So the factors that we will use there would be two methods of treatment in Ayurveda, which is called Shodhana and Shamana. So we'll assess the amount of free radical toxicity in your system. Free radical toxicity in simple word can be called toxin. So we'll see in the physical body, what's the degree of toxicity. It could be a metabolic toxin. It could be coming from a treatment that happened before, whatever could be the reason. Then we'll assess what's the toxicity in the mental realm. And then we see what's the toxicity level of intellectual dimension and the dimension of your memory. So we assess these four factors and then we see what's contributing to this condition. Is it your nutritional habits? Is it genetic predisposing factors? Is it your social environment? Is it your economic status? Is it your relationship status? Or is it an organic disease that you have? So we'll assess all this and then see, okay, what kind of depression are you suffering from and what is the scope that Ayurveda can help you with? And then using the modality of herbal management, of psychotherapies, cognitive behavioral therapies, and most importantly, the concept of penta biopurification techniques or panchakarma or elimination therapies, we will be able to taper down the antidepressants. So you should never think you can stop the medicine in a day and continue living normal. No, you have to equip your body to live healthy without depending on the medicine. So it has to be a planned, strategized, and well executed process when it comes to tapering psychiatric medications.
Thank you. That was such a detailed plan. There's a question, there are two more questions, and I'm going to be fast. Erica asks, burnout has been a great growing problem, especially in the Western countries. How can Ayurveda prevent burnout to happen? Is it possible to see from the Nadi reading whether the cause of the physical disease problem is mental or physical?
There are many questions in there.
Yeah, I think first you should answer just burnout and Ayurvedic approach. Yes, it is. Even at my workplace, we've had burnouts increasing by the number.
Yeah, burnout is a recent trend in mental health care. It is not so popular maybe 10 years ago, or maybe when me and Shruti were studying in University of Ayurveda, we were not introduced to this concept of burnout. Maybe because it was not so popular, people somehow knew how to balance life. Or maybe because people were not knowing that they were burned out. Both could be the reason. But if you look at the cause of burnout, well, there are many. But the most important ones would be, number one, unrealistic expectations. Number two, living by peer review. Number three, it would be waiting for vacations for taking care of mental hygiene. Especially with many of my patients, when I tell them, why don't you maybe meditate or dance or sing a song or sit simply for 10 minutes a day? And they give me 20 reasons why they cannot afford their 20 minutes in a day. And then they tell me, okay, maybe this year by September, I could do that because that's when I planned my vacation. We are people who spend so much money taking care of our car. Even when the car is in garage, we would still take it for a beauty therapy, isn't it? To keep it clean and nice and rich. Like there are cars in garages which are taken care more than we take care of our mind. And then we spend money on cosmetics, then we take care of dental hygiene, we take care of showering every day. There's so many things we take care of, and we wait for vacations to take care of mind. If we give half of the time of dental hygiene for mental hygiene, then you can prevent burnout. You might not be able to control the stress that could come from environment, but you could definitely decide how can you handle that. Right. You don't have to put all the stress under the carpet, suppress it inside, you wait for vacations to de-stress and detox. No, make a habit of disconnecting from all this rush of life on a daily basis, and you will get resilient. And the next thing would be using tools of mindfulness like yoga, meditation, finding hobbies, improving the capacity of brain, exploring potential of your brain by learning new things. And then identifying the cause of burnout. There are people who work maybe 20 hours a day and are not exhausted. If number of working hours was the criteria of getting burned out, then the entire planet would be burned out. But I have seen people like my mom, for example. She works more than me. If my working hours per day is 8, I have seen her working maybe 18 hours a day. And she never told me she's burned out because there's so much joy in doing things for oneself and for others. So it's important to find that factor of joy, enjoyment, or passion in your activity. If you like what you do, if you like yourself, then you don't have to always keep finding sources of energy to continue your activity of living. So identifying the cause of, okay, why am I burning out? You don't have to wait till you're clinically diagnosed of being a burnout person to identify that you're going in this direction. You already know when it starts to happen that you're really exhausted and you're still pushing through. So identify the cause the moment you feel exhausted. See, is it a physical exhaustion that's challenging you? Is it a mental exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, cognitive exhaustion, environmental exhaustion, or intellectual exhaustion? Identify your exhaustion, address the issue, and then you don't have to wait for years to burn out.
Okay. So thank you so much. We'll just take one last question in the last 4 minutes before we say bye. I would also ask, we will share our website and email address where you can reach the Ayurvedic experts beyond this conversation. The last question comes from Aditi, and she says, how does one increase energy levels after a period of feeling low and depressed? So that's the first part of her question. The second part, I think she could contact the two of you and find out. So Vaidya, Shruti, do you want to take that question? How does one increase their energy levels after a period of feeling low, depressed?
See, basically feeling low is why are you feeling low? Is it because of pandemic? Is it because of work? You need to identify what exactly is making you feel low. Once you've identified the source of why you're feeling so low on energy, so then after that, just the awareness that, okay, this is the reason why I'm feeling low. It could just be post an examination, or it could just be after a hard day when you've just worked constantly. There's a lot of mental pressure. So once that source of discomfort is identified, it automatically relieves you of 50% of the fatigue or depression or sadness that you're feeling. So with that awareness, then the best way is to just understand the situation and reach out to any of us if you need more help, and just breathe. Yeah. The essential factor is reconnecting with your breath, because if you can just reconnect with your breath, that solves almost all the problems, that we face on a day-to-day life. Just 10 to 20 minutes of meditation, it just evaporates all the low feeling that you feel. And also socially connecting. Now, given the situation of pandemic and our true nature, we are social animals. So we need that human touch. It's difficult, I understand. Just start getting out again to, the people, just reconnect, talk it out, and that will relieve you of your status.
So thank you so much. We're just in for the meditation with Swami Paramtej. So on that note, I would like to thank the two of you for, it was not just, it was very deep, the information that you've shared with us. And I'm happy that some of us have actually taken notes. So this was very useful. And for those of you who have questions, please look at the links that we have shared in the chat. These are the routes to reach the two Ayurvedic experts who are here today: the website srisritatva.eu and the email address srisritatva .fr for Vaidya Shruti in France. That should lead you to them, and you'll be able to you have to take your case forward with a personal consultation, and that's the best way to go. So what's shared here are all very generic treatments. So please find what works best for you, and we send you our best wishes, best health wishes to stay healthy, happy, and fit. And thank you everyone who joined us today, and hope to see you all again in another happy occasion.
Thank you so much, Uma.
Thank you, Uma, and thank you everyone for being here with us and patiently listening to us.
Welcome everyone. Another meditation, the evening meditation, and another honored guest. And it is my pleasure to introduce our Swami, Swami Paramtej. Swami Paramtej, being a meditator throughout his life at age of 28, he realized the meditation alone does not lead him to where he wants to be. He needs a guidance, a master. It was in 2003 he met Gurudev, His Holiness Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, and participated in the Art of Living program. He became Art of Living teacher in 2003, and in this way became a direct instrument to help people in so many ways. Swamiji has taken on many social projects since then, including rural development programs, literacy project for kindergarten kids, opening around 300 schools together with his team in the rural area of India. He started traveling and teaching in 2007. Since then, he has widely reached out to over 40 countries, spreading over Asia, South America, Europe, and Africa. Swamiji has also taken part in conferences across the world, even addressing parliamentarians in countries like the Dominican Republic and Colombia. Swamiji shares Sri Sri's vision of a one-world family where everybody lives together in peace and harmony. Swamiji believes that spiritual practices provides the courage required to handle challenges. He says one is here to contribute. He notes that contribution is what makes life worthwhile, and so he finds his own life most fulfilling. Thank you very much, Swamiji. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Vincent. Well, so as we normally say that meditation is the means to achieve whatever we want to achieve, and it's also a goal. Means because to achieve anything, you need energy, you need clarity, and that's what meditation gives you. And also is a goal because end of the day, what you want is peace, joy, and happiness, and that's what meditation directly gives you. So let's straight away go into meditation. We can do some breathing, or maybe we can do some shaking. Probably you must be sitting for some time, so we can just do some shaking. Shake out all the unwanted thoughts, all the unwanted things away. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Shake, 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 shake. Like spread your hands. Try to hold the sky, and then you hug yourself. The most beautiful person. Again, stretch your arms, opening to the infinity, and then what you found is yourself. Once again, let's stretch our arms for the infinity, and what we find is ourselves, the most beautiful person. Okay, that's nice. Now let's take your shoulders up, 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 up towards the ears. Lengthen your spine up, 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 and relax. Again, once again, up, up, up with a gentle smile, up, 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 and relax. Okay, let's do gently some neck rolls. Breathe out into your chest. Breathe in, come up from the right. And breathe out, come down from the left. Breathe in. And breathe out. Once again, breathe in. And breathe out. Opposites. Breathe in. And exhale. Breathe in up with a smile. Breathe out, come down. One last time, breathe in. And breathe out. And relax. So now let's do some alternate nostril breathing using the active hand. Thumb on the right nostril, index and the middle finger in the middle of the eyebrows, ring and the little finger on the left nostril. This is the position. So first you close the right and breathe in from the left. Close the left, breathe out from the right. And breathe in from the right. Close the right, breathe out from the left. This is one round. Let's do five more rounds. With eyes closed, all your attention on the breath with a smile. Breathing in from one nostril as slow and deep as we can. And slowly breathing out from the other nostrils as slowly as we can. The gentle smile. All your attention is on the breath. One last round. Complete the round you're on. And relax your hands, keeping your eyes closed. Keeping the gentle smile on the face. Keep your spine erect and body loose. Now observe the calmness in the mind. Now for a few minutes, we don't want to do anything. Don't want to see anything. Don't want to hear anything. Don't want to touch, taste, or smell anything. Just want to relax and be with the self. Let's take a deep breath in and slowly breathe out. Incoming breath energizes the body, and outgoing breath relaxes the body. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, relax more and more. Become aware of your surroundings and all the noises in the surroundings. Noises of birds, some traffic noise, music, or anybody moving around you. Accept all those noises. Feel one with them. Breathe in and slowly breathe out. Become aware of your body. This body is a precious gift by divine, by nature. Let's take good care of it. Bring your attention to your feet. Without moving, relax your feet. Knees, thighs and hips. Genitals, abdomen, stomach, chest, hands, shoulders. Relax your shoulders. Throat, face. Relax your eyes. Your cheeks, lips, the entire face, top of the head, and relax your whole body. Your whole body. Your whole body. Breathe in and slowly breathe out. Become aware of your thoughts. Good thoughts or bad thoughts. Do not resist any thoughts. Let them come. Thoughts are like clouds. They come and they go. Let them go. Become aware of your feelings. Pleasant feelings or unpleasant feelings. Do not resist any feelings. Accept your feelings. Become one with your feelings. You are peace. You are love. Become aware of the feelings, if there are any. Become aware of the thoughts, if there are any. Become aware of your body. Become aware of your surroundings. Take a deep breath in. And slowly breathe out. Take another deep breath in. And slowly breathe out. And taking your own time, whenever you feel complete, with a smile on your face, you may open your eyes. Just take your time. If you want, you can just gently move your neck left and right. Move your shoulders also. Great. Feeling good? Yeah, so nice. So again, congratulate you for joining the Yoga Festival for Mental Health. So let's spread this peace and joy all around. To all the organizers, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much, Swamiji. Next session continues at 7 o'clock with mantras, kirtan, dance. So see you at 7 o'clock, and we continue till 10 at night. Stay with us. Stay blessed. Namaste.